Captain Alara Vance leaned back in her chair, eyes fixed on the holographic map floating before her. The stars shimmered faintly in the display, but beyond this tiny window of light, the sector was empty, dark, and silent. Many civilizations called it the Lost Space, a region abandoned for centuries, avoided even by the bravest explorers. Yet Alara and her crew had been drawn here, guided by rumors of a forgotten weapon, one that had shaped galactic wars long before humans became a recognized force. "Are you sure about this, Captain?" asked Lieutenant Rian Kor, his fingers tapping nervously on the console. His eyes darted from the map to the dark void beyond the ship's hull. Alara did not look at him. "All the records point here. If the stories are true, what lies in that darkness is more than a ship. It's history, and it could be a turning point for humanity." The crew knew better than to argue when she spoke like that. Alara had a reputation for pushing boundaries and exploring where others feared to go. She was a human who thrived in the unknown, and in her presence even the most cautious crew felt compelled to follow. Their ship, Aurora's Call, moved carefully through the dead sector. Sensors scanned constantly, but readings were weak, as if the void itself was swallowing energy. Communication with the rest of the galaxy was impossible here. The area was notorious for interfering with signals. It was as if the stars themselves had hidden this place. "Captain," said Ryan again, pointing to the monitor, "I'm getting a faint energy reading. Something large, something artificial." Alara straightened. Her pulse quickened. "Coordinates?" Ryan entered the data and the hologram expanded. In the darkness, a shape emerged, a shadow larger than any known ship. Its outline was angular yet strangely organic, like the skeleton of a creature long extinct. The humans had found it, the lost weapon of the ancients. It had been called many names in legend: the galaxy's lost weapon, the silent sentinel, the star devourer. All records were vague, as if civilizations feared to speak its name. Ancient battles had left traces across galaxies, but this weapon had disappeared. Now it floated in silence, far from the systems that had once trembled under its power. "Prepare for boarding," Alara ordered. Her voice was steady, but excitement and tension mingled beneath the surface. "We're not here to fight. We're here to learn." The crew moved quickly. Suits were checked, scanners recalibrated, and drones deployed. The Aurora's Call approached the massive structure carefully, as if it were an unknown creature that could awaken at any moment. The closer they got, the more details emerged. The ship's surface was dark, almost black, but it pulsed faintly, as if breathing. Strange patterns ran along its hull, glowing softly in rhythm with some internal energy they could not identify. The humans had seen alien designs before, but this was different. It felt alive. "Captain," said Science Officer Lyra Neth, her voice filled with awe, "I've never seen materials like this. The hull isn't just metal. It adapts, almost organic. It's as if it can sense us." Alara nodded. "That's why we're cautious. We don't know if it's awake or if it can respond." They deployed a small boarding pod which glided silently toward the weapon. The structure was enormous, so big that even their longest sensors could not reach the far side. The pod landed on a smooth surface and the hatch hissed open. Alara led the team out, boots clanking lightly against the unknown metal. Inside, the ship was vast and dark. Hallways stretched for kilometers, lined with panels that glowed faintly with ancient writing no human had ever seen. The air was clean, perfectly breathable, as if preserved for centuries. Each step echoed, reminding them that they were intruders in a world older than most galaxies' civilizations. "Keep scanners active," Alara instructed. "We don't know if anything, or anyone, is here." They moved cautiously, exploring room after room. Some areas were empty, others contained mechanisms that still hummed faintly, as if holding secrets just beyond understanding. Every corner told stories of a war long gone, defense systems frozen in time, weapons capable of unimaginable destruction, and strange murals showing battles between beings whose forms were beyond human comprehension. Hours passed. The crew felt the weight of history pressing around them. Then in the heart of the ship they found it, the command center. The room was enormous, with a single chair in the center facing a massive console filled with holographic projections. It seemed to wait. Alara stepped forward. Her hand hovered above the console. She felt a strange warmth, as if the ship recognized her presence. Slowly she spoke aloud, almost instinctively. "Hello?" Her voice echoed gently. I am Captain Ilara Vance of the human ship Aurora's Call. We mean no harm. We wish to learn, to understand, to speak with you. For a moment, nothing happened. The room remained silent, the holograms dim. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Then a low vibration ran through the floor, almost like a heartbeat. The panels flickered to life. Words, symbols, and patterns glowed across the consoles, forming shapes the humans could not immediately interpret. But the sensation was unmistakable. The ship was responding. "Captain," Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. It's alive. It's aware." Ilara felt a shiver run down her spine. She took a deep breath and spoke again, more firmly this time. "We are humans. We are explorers. We do not wish to control you. Will you speak with us?" A deep resonant sound filled the room, vibrating in the air and in their bones. The tone was not language, at least not any they had heard, but it carried meaning. It was curiosity, recognition, and intelligence all at once. The crew froze, listening. Then through the consoles, a voice, metallic but strangely melodic, spoke. "Human voice detected. Identity registered. Purpose unclear." Clarify intent. Ilara's heart raced. The weapon, the lost ship of legend, was not just awake. It was listening, understanding, and responding. "We come in peace," she said clearly, meeting the unseen intelligence with steady eyes. "We are explorers. We wish to learn about you and the history you carry. We want to understand the galaxy, not destroy it." The warship seemed to pause. Symbols and lights danced across the panels as if considering her words. The vibration in the floor slowed, settling into a gentle pulse. It was as if the ancient weapon was thinking, sensing, and weighing humanity in a way no alien species could. "You speak with honesty," the voice finally said. "Intent unusual. Verification ongoing." Ilara exhaled slowly, relief and awe mingling. She turned to her crew. "We've done it. The legends. They are true. And it listens to us." The crew gathered around, scanning, recording, and marveling at the living history before them. The lost weapon was no longer just a myth. It had awakened, and it had responded to a human voice. But Ilara knew this was only the beginning. Out there, beyond the darkness, forces would come for this power. Alien factions that had long feared and coveted the galaxy's lost weapon would not stay silent. The humans had made the first connection, but surviving the interest this discovery would spark was another challenge entirely. For now, though, they had a moment of wonder, a moment when humanity, small and unassuming in the grand galaxy, had reached out and awakened a power that no other species could. Ilara placed her hand gently on the console, feeling the warmth, the life, and the intelligence within. "We will be careful," she whispered, "and we will learn from you, together." Outside, the stars continued to shine faintly in the lost sector, unaware that a new chapter in galactic history had just begun, one in which humans were no longer just observers, but participants and perhaps guardians of a power long thought gone forever. The Aurora's Call floated silently beside the massive warship, its dark hull glowing faintly in the void. The crew had spent hours exploring the command center, but the more they learned, the more they realized how little they truly understood. The weapon was not just a ship. It was alive in a way that defied logic. It sensed, remembered, and judged. And most importantly, it seemed to trust Captain Ilara Vance. Ilara stood in the center of the command room, her hand resting on a smooth panel that pulsed under her touch. The hum of the warship filled the space, almost like a living heartbeat. The crew had come to a silent understanding. They were no longer in control. They were guests in the presence of something far older and far more powerful than anything humanity had ever built. "Captain," said Lieutenant Rayan Kor, voice hesitant. "I've been running scans for hours. The ship's systems, they're enormous. Energy output, weapon capacity. If it activated fully, it could destroy a planet in minutes." Ilara did not flinch. She had expected nothing less. "We need to be careful, Ryan, but right now our job isn't to fight. It's to understand and connect. If we act wisely, this ship could become our greatest ally." Science Officer Lyra Neth stepped forward, her eyes wide with fascination. "Captain, it's responding to our voices. It's learning. Every command, every question we ask, it adapts. I've never seen anything like it." Ilara nodded. "That's why we need to communicate with it. Slowly, carefully. We can't just push buttons or demand obedience. We need to earn its trust." The crew gathered around the console again. Ilara cleared her throat and spoke directly to the warship. "We are humans," she said clearly. "We do not wish to control you or harm you. We want to learn from you, to understand your history, and to know your purpose." For a long moment the room was silent. Then the console flickered, projecting symbols and images across the walls. They were complex, shifting patterns of light that seemed to form shapes reminiscent of long-forgotten stars and civilizations. The warship's voice filled the room again, deeper this time, resonating in the air and vibrating through the floor. Human. Curiosity detected. History fragmented. Knowledge incomplete. Why should I reveal myself to you? Ilara straightened. She had expected this question, though not the way it was asked. Because we are different. We see the galaxy not only through power but through understanding. We do not act without thought. And we listen. The warship paused. Symbols slowed, then changed, forming a pattern that resembled a key. It was as if it was testing them, offering a chance to prove themselves. "What does it want?" whispered Ryan, eyes scanning the symbols. Lyra shook her head. "I can't be sure, but I think it's asking for proof. Proof that we are capable of thinking beyond instinct, beyond destruction." Ilara nodded. "Then we give it that proof." She turned to the console and pressed a panel lightly. Images of the crew appeared, their missions, explorations, and acts of diplomacy. She spoke aloud, recounting each moment in simple terms. "We have made mistakes," she said, "but we have also learned. We help when we can, we protect when we must, and we choose life over destruction whenever possible. That is who we are." The warship's hum deepened. The floor vibrated beneath them, almost in approval. Then, in a voice that sounded closer to curiosity than command, it spoke again. "Human. Object unexpected. Emotion integrated. Approach permitted. Systems partially revealed," the crew gasped. Partially revealed meant the warship was opening some of its internal systems for them to study. This was unprecedented. They had not only made contact, they had begun forming a bond with one of the galaxy's most powerful creations. Ilara allowed herself a small smile, though she remained cautious. "Thank you. We will respect your systems. We will not harm them. But we need to learn so that we can help, not destroy." The warship seemed to consider her words. Symbols flashed across the walls, now forming sequences that could be interpreted as instructions. Lyra's fingers flew across the console, decoding what she could. "It's teaching us," she whispered. "It's showing us how it works without activating its weapons fully. It wants us to understand the mechanics, the strategy, the reasoning behind its design." Ilara stepped closer to the console. "Show us everything you can safely reveal. We will learn, we will listen, and we will act responsibly." Over the next several hours, the crew explored the systems the warship allowed. They discovered massive energy cores, defensive shields, propulsion methods far beyond human technology, and weapons that were both terrifying and intricate. Every revelation came with the warship's guidance, not through commands, but through shared understanding. As they worked, a soft tension filled the air. Outside the warship, sensors detected movement. Alien ships entering the sector. Ilara's heart sank. The humans were not the only ones aware of this discovery. Many factions had long hunted for the lost weapon, and now that it was stirring, they would not remain idle. "Captain," Ryan said, his voice tight, "we have company. Multiple signatures. Advanced vessels. They're moving fast." Ilara's eyes narrowed. She had expected this. "Prepare defenses. Stay in the shadows for now. We are not here to fight, but we cannot be caught unready. We need a plan." The warship, sensing the tension, vibrated gently beneath their feet. Its voice resonated in the room again, calm but firm. "Threat detected. Intent. Hostile. Humans. Capable of strategy. Decision unclear. Guidance required." Ilara met the warship's presence with steady eyes. "We will defend ourselves, but only if necessary. You have taught us much. We will not misuse your power. Trust us." The vessel seemed to respond, shifting its energy flows, subtly activating defensive protocols, but without overt hostility. It was as if it trusted them to act wisely, to balance caution with action. Lyra glanced at the projections on the walls. "It's preparing, but not fully. It's letting us choose, but it's ready to help if we need it." Hours passed and the alien ships drew closer. The humans stayed quiet, monitoring, observing, and learning. Then, as one of the alien scouts approached the edge of sensor range, the warship reacted. Not with violence, but with a controlled display of power. Lights flared along its hull, energy shifted visibly in the void, and the vessel emitted a pulse that sent the approaching scout into retreat, without a single shot fired. Alara exhaled. See? It's teaching us not only how to use power, but how to control it, how to prevent unnecessary destruction. The crew was silent, awed. They had learned something profound. This weapon, feared by all, could be guided by understanding, empathy, and reason. And only humans, with their blend of intuition and logic, had awakened this capability. As night fell in the sector, or whatever passed for night in the void of space, the crew gathered in the central room. The warship's hum surrounded them, a living reminder of the power now sharing their presence. "Captain," Ryan said quietly, "do you think it trusts us fully?" Alara looked at the glowing panels, her hand still resting lightly on the console. "Not fully yet," she said, "but it's beginning to. And that's enough for now. We've started something no one else could, something that could change everything." The warship pulsed gently, almost as if acknowledging her words. Outside, the alien ships had withdrawn slightly, sensing that this was not a target to approach lightly. Humanity had made the first real contact, and in doing so, had shown that intelligence, empathy, and strategy could awaken even the galaxy's deadliest weapon. Alara leaned back, taking a deep breath. "Rest now," she told her crew. "Tomorrow we learn more. But tonight, we remember that we are not just explorers. We are the first humans this weapon has recognized as worthy, and that is something no one can take from us." Outside, the stars continued to shine faintly in the lost sector, unaware of the awakening within. But inside the ship, something ancient and powerful had stirred, and it had chosen to respond, not to force, not to threat, but to a human voice. And that choice, Alara knew, would echo across the galaxy. The Aurora's call floated silently near the massive warship, its hull reflecting the faint glimmers of distant stars. Inside, the crew worked tirelessly, monitoring both the awakened weapon and the sensors detecting alien movements. Tension filled the air, heavier than the void outside, for they all knew the stories. The galaxy did not forget a power like this. "Captain," Lieutenant Ryan Core said, his voice tight, "the alien fleets are moving faster. They've split into smaller groups trying to flank us. They know something is here. They want the weapon." Alara's eyes narrowed. She had expected this, yet the reality was sharper than she imagined. "We cannot outrun them," she said, "and we cannot fight them directly, not yet. But we can use our advantage, our knowledge, our creativity, and the trust the warship has placed in us." Science Officer Lyra Neth leaned over the console, scanning the approaching alien formations. "They're relying on brute force," she said. "They don't understand the ship, its systems, its intelligence. They only see a weapon." "That's our edge," Alara nodded. "Good. We will need to think differently. The humans who came before us survived by adapting, by using strategy and improvisation. This will be no different." The warship pulsed beneath them as if sensing her determination. Its voice echoed through the command room, calm yet resonant. "Humans, approach. Defensive method. Unconventional. Trust, partial. Action required?" Alara smiled slightly. "Yes, we act together. Carefully but decisively." Outside, the alien ships closed in. They were sleek, fast, and heavily armed. Their sensors probed the space around the warship, looking for weaknesses. They expected fear, hesitation, maybe surrender. Instead, they found silence, strategy, and a calm determination that confused them. Alara gave her orders. "Activate the warship's defensive shields in partial mode. Keep it subtle. Let them think they see no threat. We wait for the right moment," Ryan frowned. "Subtle? How do you fight them without firing?" Alara's lips curved into a determined smile. "By using our minds, by being unpredictable." The crew worked in tandem with the warship. Energy flows shifted across its hull, generating invisible fields that bent sensors and communications. The alien fleet, expecting a clear target, reported anomalies, signals that vanished, radar readings that warped, and fleets that appeared in places where nothing existed. "They can't figure us out," Lyra whispered, excitement mixing with tension. "It's like we're ghosts, but with control over reality itself." Alara's eyes never left the viewport. "That's exactly what we are. Stay focused. Wait for my signal." The aliens, growing impatient, launched a small attack group to probe the defenses. Missiles streaked through the void, But the warship reacted before a single one could reach them. It created a silent barrier of energy that absorbed the missiles, redirecting their kinetic force harmlessly into the vacuum. The attack failed, leaving the alien pilots frustrated and fearful. Rian shook his head. This is incredible. It's like the ship knows exactly what we need before we do. Ilara placed a hand on the console, feeling the faint vibrations of intelligence beneath her fingers. It does, that's why we have to think like it thinks. We cannot just command it. We must reason, guide, and adapt. The aliens regrouped, sending a larger strike force directly toward them. This time they came with lasers, plasma cannons, and electronic jammers meant to disable the warship's systems. Captain, Lyra said, they're trying to overwhelm us. If their weapons hit, it could be dangerous. Even for this ship, Ilara's mind raced. She knew humans were often underestimated because of their size and apparent weakness, but it was that same underestimation that gave them their edge. Humans could improvise, adapt, and act unpredictably, and in this moment, that would be their greatest weapon. Rian, she said calmly, we're going to play a trick. Draw them in. He raised an eyebrow. A trick? What do you mean? Ilara leaned closer to the console, speaking clearly, almost as if in conversation with the warship itself. We will pretend to retreat, but the moment they think they have an advantage, the warship will guide us in ways they cannot predict. We will use the environment, our knowledge, and our intuition. The warship's hum grew steady, almost approving. Symbols danced across the walls in a sequence that seemed like encouragement. It was as if the weapon understood Ilara's plan, trusted her, and prepared to act in sync with human creativity. The Aurora's call moved backward slowly, pretending to flee. The aliens, confident in their superiority, pursued aggressively, ignoring the subtle energy distortions that bent their sensors. Then, at Ilara's signal, the warship acted. Sections of its hull rotated, revealing hidden energy projectors. Fields of interference created phantom ships, confusing the alien pilots further. Missiles that had been launched toward them were redirected back at the attackers with precise accuracy, not to destroy, but to block and disorient. Ryan's jaw dropped. They can't handle this. They have no idea what's happening. Ilara nodded, a spark of pride in her eyes. That's human ingenuity. We fight not with raw power, but with strategy and creativity. The aliens faltered. Their formation broke, signals jammed, and panic spread among their ranks. The humans, working in perfect coordination with the warship, used every advantage they had. They predicted movements, anticipated attacks, and manipulated energy flows, all guided by the intelligence of the ship and the intuition of humans. After what felt like hours but was only minutes, the alien fleet retreated. They had underestimated humans, and in doing so they had lost not just the battle, but their confidence. The command room was filled with a tense silence. Then slowly the crew exhaled, relief washing over them. Ilara allowed herself a small smile. That was the first test, and we passed. Not because of brute force, but because we used our minds, our strategy, and the trust of the warship. Lyra glanced around, awe in her eyes. It's incredible. We didn't even fire a single shot directly, and yet we won. The warship. It responded to us, to how we think, not just what we do. The warship's hum filled the room again, softer this time. Its voice, almost gentle, spoke. Humans. Capable, adaptive. Strategy, successful. Trust, growing. Observation, ongoing. Ilara placed a hand on the console, feeling the faint vibration beneath her fingers. We've begun to learn from each other. That's how this will work. Not by control, but by understanding. And together, we can face anything. Outside, the stars remained silent witnesses to the first true human-led defense of the galaxy's lost weapon. The aliens had retreated, but they would return, and more would come. Yet humanity had shown something no other species could, that intelligence, creativity, and courage could awaken and guide the deadliest weapon ever made. Ryan shook his head in disbelief. Captain, we really did it. We actually did it. Ilara smiled, but her eyes were already scanning the void. Yes, we did. But this is only the beginning. They will come back. And next time, we need to be ready not just to defend, but to show them that humans are not to be underestimated. The warship pulsed gently beneath them as if agreeing. The bond between human and weapon had deepened through the trial, proving that trust and strategy were as powerful as any laser or missile. For now, The crew of the Aurora's Call had survived their first encounter. They had tested their wits, their courage, and their ability to work with a power far beyond imagination. And in doing so, they had taken the first step toward something far greater than any battle, the awakening of a weapon that could change the galaxy. Guided by the human mind and heart, Alara looked around at her crew. Rest, tomorrow we learn more. Tomorrow we plan for what comes next. But tonight, remember this, we are humans. We think, we adapt, and we survive. And no one, not even the most feared weapon in the galaxy, can ignore that. Outside, in the silent darkness of the lost sector, the stars continued to shine faintly. But within the heart of the galaxy's lost weapon, a new intelligence had been tested, awakened, and guided by the most unpredictable force of all, a human mind. And the galaxy would never forget that moment. The Aurora's Call drifted alongside the awakened warship in the silent darkness of the lost sector. After the first test against the alien fleet, the humans had learned much about strategy, trust, and the ship's incredible responsiveness. But Alara knew this was only the beginning. The real test lay in understanding the secrets the weapon held, secrets that could reshape the galaxy. The command center glowed softly, with its holographic displays showing complex patterns that were slowly becoming intelligible to the crew. Symbols once indecipherable now began to make sense, revealing hints of the ship's history and purpose. "Captain," Lyra said, pointing at the panels, "I think we're starting to understand part of its origin. This ship, it was built not just as a weapon, but as a guardian. Its creators designed it to respond only to those worthy of command." Alara leaned closer, her eyes scanning the glowing symbols. Worthy it meaning it chooses its commander based on trust, reasoning, and intent. Not force. Not threats. Only choice. The warship's hum filled the room, vibrating in rhythm with her heartbeat. Its voice, now familiar, spoke with calm resonance. Humans exhibit qualities: unexpected, logic, emotion, adaptation, empathy. Recognized, Ryan scratched his head. So it's not just a weapon. It's intelligent. It can judge people. It can think. Yes, Alara said quietly. And that's why it responded to us first. We weren't looking for power. We were looking to understand. The warship's systems began to reveal more. Panels projected holographic diagrams of energy cores, propulsion engines, shield arrays, and weaponry. But hidden within were additional layers, data encrypted in ways the humans had never seen. It was almost as if the warship wanted to test their patience, their intelligence, and their creativity before giving full access. Lyra's fingers flew over the console. The data is incredible. Energy output beyond anything humans have ever seen. Weapons that could annihilate entire fleets. Shields that can bend light, gravity, and even time. But there's more. These systems have failsafes tied to morality or ethics. The creators built in a way to prevent misuse. Alara's eyes widened. So it's not just a weapon. It's a guardian of the galaxy, and it can judge intent. That's why it reacted to us, and why it will only respond fully if it trusts its commander. The warship's hum deepened, almost like approval. Humans demonstrate understanding, patience, growth, choice. Acknowledged. Secrets. Available gradually. The crew spent hours exploring and decoding. The more they learned, the more profound the revelation became. This weapon was not just a relic of war. It carried memories, intelligence, and strategies accumulated over millennia. Its creators had built it to learn, to adapt, and to judge those who sought to wield its power. Alara's mind raced. This changes everything. If humans can connect with it, if we can guide it, we can prevent wars, protect civilizations, and maintain balance. But we must act carefully. Others will come for this power, and many will not have our intentions. Outside, the sensors detected faint movements, small alien scouts attempting to probe the lost sector again. Alara's heart sank slightly. Their presence was no longer a secret. The galaxy would notice sooner or later that the weapon had awakened. "Captain," Ryan said, "we need a plan for these visitors. They won't leave quietly, and some will be stronger than the ones we faced before." Alara's eyes scanned the warship, feeling its intelligence and judgment in every pulse and hum. "We will not fight recklessly. We will use what we've learned, guide the warship responsibly, and outthink them. They may have numbers, But we have strategy, adaptability, and insight that no one else possesses. The warship responded almost immediately. Threats. Detected strategy. Humans capable. Defense. Partial activation. Trust. Increasing. Alara nodded. Good, let's continue learning. The more we understand this ship, the better we can guide it and ourselves. As the hours passed, the warship began to share more than just systems. Holographic sequences displayed memories of battles, star systems destroyed, civilizations lost, and wars fought in the name of power. The crew watched silently, absorbing the weight of history. These images, these stories, Lyra whispered, they show the consequences of unchecked power. That's why it responds to choice, not force. Its creators, they knew that intelligence without judgment is dangerous. Alara's voice was calm but firm. And that's why we are important. Humans think differently. We question, we empathize, and we adapt. Other species might seek power for conquest, but we seek understanding first. The warship pulsed again. Humans unique. Qualities acknowledged. Potential. Significant guidance accepted. For the first time, the weapon revealed more of its true capability. Energy cores glowed with controlled intensity. Shield arrays adjusted to defend multiple vectors, and propulsion systems aligned for rapid movement. Yet it did not activate fully, not yet. It was still testing, still learning from the humans' decisions. Alara turned to her crew. This is more than a weapon. It's a responsibility. We have been chosen in a way no other species has, and we must act wisely. Ryan shook his head in awe. We've never faced anything like this. It's alive and it listens to us. Not because we forced it, but because it recognizes something in us. Yes, Alara said, and that recognition is rare. That is why it responded to us when no one else could. Outside, faint signals of alien fleets appeared again. This time they were cautious, scanning the sector from a distance. They had sensed the awakening and were trying to understand the anomaly before committing to an attack. Alara's mind raced. We must prepare but not react with force. Let them reveal their intentions first. The warship and we together can create opportunities they cannot predict. We must guide its power, not just rely on it blindly. The warship pulsed again, almost like agreement. Observation. Ongoing. Strategy. Humans capable. Action. Pending. Hours became days as the humans continued to study the warship. They learned its history, its capabilities, and its limitations. They realized that while it could unleash immense power, it was not a tool for conquest. It was a protector, a judge, and a guide for those who could understand its complexity. Alara spoke quietly to the console, her voice steady and calm. We are humans. We are small, but we think, we adapt, and we understand. You have chosen to trust us partially. We will not betray that trust. We will guide your power wisely. The warship's hum deepened, almost approving. Trust, growing. Guidance, acknowledged. Potential, significant. Observation, ongoing. By the end of the fourth day, the humans had gained enough understanding to operate some of the ship's systems safely. They could manipulate energy flows, adjust shields, and even coordinate defensive strategies. But the ultimate weapons remained inactive, awaiting complete trust. Alara looked around at her crew. We are not just explorers anymore. We are stewards of something ancient and powerful, and we must be ready for what comes next. Others will test us, but together we can guide this ship responsibly and protect the galaxy. Outside, the stars continued to shine in the lost sector, unaware of the awakening power within. But inside, a bond had formed between humans and a weapon that had once been feared across galaxies. A bond built not on force or intimidation, but on trust, understanding, and choice. The galaxy would never know that humanity had begun to master something no other species could control. And that mastery, Alara knew, would soon be tested, not only by those who sought power, but by the human's ability to lead with wisdom, empathy, and courage. The first steps had been taken. The humans had awakened the weapon, learned its secrets, and proven their potential. And soon, the galaxy would witness the consequences of a species that could awaken, guide, and protect the most powerful creation ever known. Alara placed her hand on the console one last time that night. We have learned much, but there is more ahead. More challenges, more tests, and we will face them. Together. The warship pulsed gently beneath her hand, a living testament to the ancient past and a promise for the future. Humanity had proven itself worthy, and the galaxy was about to change forever. The darkness of the lost sector stretched endlessly, but inside the command center of the awakened warship, light and life pulsed with a quiet intensity. Captain Alara Vance stood at the console watching as the stars beyond shimmered like distant jewels. For days they had studied, learned, and understood the warship's systems. Now they faced their greatest challenge, proving to the galaxy and to the ancient weapon that humanity could wield its power wisely. "Captain," Lieutenant Ryan Core said, urgency in his voice. "Multiple alien fleets are converging. They've discovered our position and are preparing for full-scale engagement. They want the weapon. They want control." Alara's jaw tightened. This was the moment she had prepared for. "We expected this," she said calmly. "But we are not alone. We have learned its systems, its intelligence, and its ways. We will not fight blindly. We will act with strategy and purpose." Science Officer Lyra Neth stepped forward. "Captain, the weapon has partially activated its defenses. But if they attack, we need to decide. Should we unleash its full potential?" Ilara's eyes met the glowing panels. She felt the hum beneath her fingertips, the resonance of intelligence and choice. The weapon was powerful beyond imagining, but it would act only if it trusted her completely. She spoke softly yet firmly. "We will act together. Full potential only if necessary. We guide, not dominate. But they will learn that humans are not to be underestimated." The warship pulsed beneath them, almost like an echo of her heartbeat. Its voice resonated. "Trust. Complete action. Prepared. Human guidance. Acknowledged." Outside, the alien fleets approached, sleek and deadly. They fired probes, scanning for weaknesses, hoping to find an opening to seize the weapon. But the humans and the awakened warship were ready. The Aurora's call hovered at the edge of the warship's hull, small and unassuming, yet filled with courage and resolve. "Captain," Ryan said nervously. "They're preparing a direct assault. Hundreds of ships. This could be catastrophic if we're caught off guard." Ilara nodded, her mind racing. "Then we use what we've learned. The galaxy expects brute force. We will show them strategy, creativity, and the unexpected. Humans will guide the impossible." The warship responded with a low hum, lights flickering across its hull, forming a sequence that indicated readiness. "Observation. Complete action," advised humans. "Capable." Ilara took a deep breath and spoke aloud as if speaking to both her crew and the warship itself. "We act together, we defend. We do not destroy unnecessarily. We show that intelligence, strategy, and humanity's will are as powerful as any weapon." Suddenly, the alien fleets fired. Bright streaks of plasma and laser energy cut through the void, aiming to pierce the defenses of the ancient warship. But it was ready. Shields flared to life, bending energy harmlessly into the vacuum. Energy projectors redirected attacks with precision, blocking entire formations without firing a single weapon. Rian stared in awe. "It's incredible. They don't know how to fight something that reacts to thought, not force." Ilara smiled slightly, her eyes fixed on the holographic projections of approaching fleets. "That's humanity's edge. They expect fear. They expect chaos. They don't expect intelligence, coordination, or creativity." The warship pulsed again, sending vibrations through the deck as if responding to her words. Its voice, calm and deep, resonated in the room. "Humans demonstrate adaptability, courage, reasoning, trust, complete action authorized." Ilara's heart raced. This was it. She had earned the weapon's full trust. The systems previously hidden now began to glow with controlled power. Shields strengthened, propulsion engines roared silently with energy, and the ultimate weapons capable of unimaginable destruction came online, but not as tools of conquest. They were tools of defense guided by choice and strategy. "Prepare for coordination," Ilara ordered. "We act together not as master and tool, but as partners. Guide the weapon wisely, and the galaxy will see what humans are capable of." The alien fleets, confident and aggressive, advanced recklessly. They assumed they could overwhelm the humans and seize the weapon before it could react. But their assumptions were wrong. The humans used every lesson learned. They manipulated energy fields, created phantom projections of fleets, and guided the warship to anticipate movements before they happened. The aliens fired again and again, but each attack was deflected, rerouted, or absorbed. Ryan's eyes widened. "They can't hit us. They can't even predict our moves." Ilara's voice was steady, We fight smart, not hard. Humans survive through strategy, adaptation, and thinking beyond instinct. That is what makes us different. As the aliens faltered, the warship activated sequences designed not to destroy, but to warn and demonstrate power. Holographic pulses shot into the void, creating visible energy patterns that showed overwhelming potential without causing harm. Entire alien formations paused, observing the display. Fear, caution, and awe spread across their ranks. Lyra whispered, "They've never seen anything like this. The weapon, it's teaching them, not killing them. Humans are guiding it with intelligence, not rage." Ilara nodded. "Exactly. We show them what power can be when it is controlled, understood, and guided by wisdom. The galaxy will remember this moment." The alien fleets began to retreat, their confidence shattered. They had underestimated humans and the intelligence of the warship. The humans had shown that courage, strategy, and empathy could outperform raw force. Ilara allowed herself a small smile. "This is the signal. The galaxy will see that humans are not to be dismissed, that we are capable of thought, choice, and guidance even in the face of unimaginable power." The warship pulsed again, softly this time, its voice resonating with approval. "Humans, trust, complete, guidance, effective, action, successful, observation, recorded." Ryan exhaled, relief and awe mingling in his expression. "Captain, we did it. We actually did it." Ilara placed her hand on the console, feeling the hum beneath her fingers. "Yes, we did. But this is not about victory. It is about understanding, responsibility, and the choices we make. Power without wisdom is dangerous, but guided with intelligence, it can protect, inspire, and change everything." The alien fleets disappeared into the distance, leaving the lost sector silent once more. The humans had survived their first full confrontation, proving that they could guide and control the galaxy's most feared weapon. Ilara turned to her crew, pride shining in her eyes. "We are not just explorers. We are guardians. Humans have awakened, guided, and mastered something that no other species could, and we did it with thought, not violence, with strategy, not chaos, with courage, not fear." The warship pulsed gently beneath them as if agreeing. Symbols and lights danced across its hull, a living testament to its recognition of human intelligence and responsibility. Outside, the stars shimmered quietly, unaware of the new balance being forged in the lost sector. But within the warship, a new era had begun. A bond had been formed between humans and a power that had once been feared across galaxies. Ilara spoke softly, almost in a whisper. "We have shown the galaxy what humans are capable of, not through destruction, but through guidance, wisdom, and courage. That is our signal." The warship resonated with her words, lights pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Humans recognized. Potential, realized. Guidance, effective, future, unfolding. For the first time, the humans felt the full weight of responsibility. They were not conquerors. They were not destroyers. They were guides, stewards, and protectors. The galaxy would soon learn that humans were a species to be respected, feared not for brutality, but admired for intelligence, courage, and wisdom. Ryan looked around, eyes wide. "Captain, the galaxy will never be the same." Ilara nodded, her gaze fixed on the stars. "No, and it should not be. Humanity has taken its place, not through fear, but through understanding, empathy, and choice. That is the true power of our species." The crew gathered around the console, hands resting lightly on the glowing panels. The warship pulsed beneath them, alive, intelligent, and trusting. Together they had awakened history, survived the first test, and sent a signal that would echo across the stars. Ilara's voice was calm, but filled with conviction. "Remember this moment. Remember what we have done. We are humans. We adapt, we think, we survive, and we guide power with wisdom. That is what makes us extraordinary." The warship pulsed one final time, its deep resonance filling the room like a heartbeat. Outside, the stars remained silent, but inside, a new chapter in galactic history had begun. Humanity had awakened the galaxy's lost weapon, guided it with intelligence and choice, and proven that even the most ancient power could respond to the voice of a human. And the galaxy would never forget it.